We will see what is the SAP UI5 Fiori framework can actually do, and we'll have a short demo on coding our first UI5 page. I would say not an application, but a page. And then towards the end of this session, we will have a question and answer session from all of you. There are questions starting from details about as an ABAPer, what is that I will be doing or not will be doing? Will this course be helping me as an ABAP developer? Will I be able to learn? Hello everyone, welcome to this next demo session on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. Thank you so much for making the channels on my channel on this planet's #1 channel on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. I really respect all the response and the enthusiasm in all of you to be able to participate in my trainings continuously back to back, as well as sending the emails which I'm receiving from all of you around the world. In today's demo session, once again, we will have a look at the basics of SAP UI5 and Fiori. We will see what is the SAP UI5 Fiori framework can actually do, and we'll have a short demo on coding our first UI5 page. I would say not an application, but a page. And then towards the end of this session, we will have a question and answer session from all of you. There are questions starting from details about as an ABAPer, what is that I will be doing or not will be doing? Will this course be helping me as an ABAP developer? Will I be able to learn? Questions like what about server access? Questions about which is the right flow to learn? Will you be covering this or that? And what are the other stuff related to SAP UI5 and Fiori? So let's begin our demo session. Before we move on, let's look at quickly the schedule of the classes. How this course is structured. This course is structured into 4 parts. Most of us comes from SAP ABAP background, BI background, or some of you are from Portal. Some of you were working as a PSP consultant or as a WebDin Pro consultant, and now you are seeing a shift in industry. Every single UI applications these days are now getting built on SAP UI5 and Fiori. This is the motivation for us to get started with UI5 Fiori, learn it and position ourselves to be in a better situation in a company. We will also not just look at the technical aspects, but we'll see the right learning methodologies, all the interview questions which could probably come when you are attending interviews for UI5 and Fiori. This course is divided into 4 phases. As I mentioned, there is 0 prerequisite to understand or learn this course. Yet, just for the last part, I will explain you, there will be some little bit of prerequisite of ABAP, but majority 80% of this course, there is 0 prerequisite of anything which you should know. This course is designed in a way that even an ABAP developer who are working on ABAP or BO, BI, BW, or in Portal, they can also understand and learn it pretty fast. The first phase of this course, we will discuss about foundation for UI5, which includes HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. And another biggest myth across the developers which we see is people do think that to understand UI5 and Fiori, they need to learn Java. Not at all, guys. Not at all. We need to learn JavaScript, which is different than Java. It's not a Java programming language. It's a browser's programming language, and that is also part of the course. You don't need to know that already. The second phase of this course, we will talk about UI5 framework. What is this framework? How it is designed? Looking into the deep inside the APIs of the framework, its documentation, its software development kit, and the development environment tools which we would be needing to develop this. As I mentioned multiple times, there is 0 prerequisite, which means all the installation, system setup, Everything will be covered as part of this course. What you just need is an internet connection and a laptop. That's it. The required installation to be able to work with the development tool will also be covered in the course step by step. We will be using SAP Web IDE as our preferred development tool. There are two versions of Web IDE. One is with the cloud and one is with on-prem, which is so-called personal edition, only for trial usage. We will be discussing about that also in details. Then the third phase of this course, we will move to the Fiori introduction and application development using SAP M library. We'll talk about types of Fiori applications and see how can we also build applications with the help of templates. Our main goal in this course will be not to understand building an application, but also to follow through the standard guidelines. The standard guidelines, be it for a UX design in Fiori, or following the standards to be able to design an application which passes through all the code reviews. So you would observe that there will be code reviews in your company, there will be some design discussions, there will be discussions around your code. How do you get through all of that? That's what we will be looking into. Not at all, we will also talk about all the important interview questions as well as part of this. The last part is about development of OData service. This is also another top asked questions to me on my website, my YouTube channel, as well as on my emails. Anubhav, will you also teach us how to expose the current data of our ECC system or S4HANA system to a Fiori application? Yes, guys, we will be learning that. We will see how to develop OData service, and this is where the core ABAP knowledge is required. Yet again, we have another technique called service generation, for which very little knowledge of ABAP is required, not at all much knowledge of ABAP is required. So if you are an ABAPer, this course is actually for you. If you are a BW consultant, this course is for you. If you are a portal developer working in portal in the past, this course is for you. If you are a WebDin Pro BSP developer, this course is for you. This is a developer's course. This is an architect's course, senior developer course, because we will be working here with hardcore codings. For more details about the course content and the structure, including the schedule, I would request all of you to please look at my website, onlinefiorytrainings.com. So you can always go and check it out, onlinefiorytrainings.com, to get information about when is the course starting, what is the schedule of the course, and different other modules which are so pivotal for all of us to be able to get hands on into to survive in today's changing world. You would find the necessary courses. Any developer working on SAP Arena, be it like in BW background, be it like S4HANA, Web or HANA, you must need to learn these three courses today. That's the need of today's world. You can get drilled down to the first module. This is the module for absolute beginner. You could find the schedule of the course, the upcoming batches, a screenshot of my existing batch, and then all the details you could be found, including the course content over here. So please look at the website in case you need more information. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, which is going to help you not just the learning of basic stuff, but also to the advanced level. On this channel, we have provided an amazing set of videos. For each one of you, there is something. Either you are a basic starting point, you are doing a basic starting point for these technologies, or you are in advanced level. There are some videos who are going to help you. Once again, some of these videos are just demo videos. Please try to understand. You need to subscribe to the training to be able to understand or learn all the things from scratch, end to end. Still, this channel is so powerful to give you some depth knowledge on certain topics, targeting a very, very specific audience and very specific topics. With that, let's quickly move on to our demo. Moving on, start with the very basic. First question which comes in our mind is, what is UI5? You might have heard around you in your company that UI5 coming, Fiori coming. What does it mean? And how does it impact you as a developer who've been working in SAP area since quite a while, or maybe a refresher just started with the SAP area? Or there may be some of you who have already got into a project to develop some kind of POCs in your company to be able to demonstrate these new technological advancement, so-called UI5. So what is UI5? Let's try to understand what is UI5. SAP UI5 is a framework which is used to develop responsive web applications. That's a very first definition of SAP UI5, guys. SAP UI5 is a framework which is used to create responsive web applications. Let's try to understand these words, so-called framework and responsive web application. What does this word means? So what is framework? Framework stands for collection of libraries. What is a library? A library is a collection of classes. What is a class? A class is a collection of methods, attributes, so-called properties, functions are so-called methods, events, aggregations, etc. We all know the basics of object-oriented world, where we have a class. It's a template of an object, and we can create multiple objects out of that class. So that's what UI5 is. It's a collection of libraries. Each library includes set of classes, so-called also the UI control in case of UI. This is called UI control. A class is actually UI control. Example be a button. Button is a class for you, right? So when you want to design an application, you will be using the button class to create object of the button. Then maybe you have a button, you have a text, you have list control, you have table, etc. These are all different classes which are part of libraries. Example of some of the UI5 libraries are sap.ui.layout library. Another could be SAP, very important library to be able to develop an application. We have SAP UI comp or smart filter controls, etc. These are some examples of libraries. SAP UI5 is a collection of these libraries. Each library is a collection of classes, which are nothing but your UI controls. And each control will have properties. For an instance, button will have properties like press as an event, text property, icon property, etc. So that's how the UI5 framework is designed. What is the purpose of UI5 framework? The UI5 framework purpose is to design a responsive web application. Try to understand this word responsive. At times in interview, some interviewer may ask you, what is a responsive web application? It has nothing to do with speed, guys. The word is little confusing, which says responsive means it's very fast. Don't be confused. Responsive meaning an application which adapts itself based on the devices automatically. It's a world of mobile devices. You have devices starting from a mobile phone to a tablet to a desktop, and then projectors, smart watches and stuff like that. That's the kind of world we are living into right now. We want an application to not be coded separately for mobile, separately for tablet and separately for desktops and projectors. We want a single application code to cater to all the needs of demanding industry. And we want to build actually business application. We are not going to build a game here. It's not a gaming framework. Yeah, there are a lot of different variety of frameworks, guys, in the market who are designed to develop certain types of things. Another set of frameworks which I can recall is AngularJS. You might have heard about. AngularJS is also used to develop responsive web application. You have MeanStack. You have Less framework. You have Bootstrap. There are a lot of frameworks in the market like UI5. All right, and they are used for different purposes, different types of applications. The applications which you guys are these days using in your mobile devices, some of these applications are coded separately in Android. They are coded separately. The websites is coded using separate language, and the mobile application dedicatedly coded separately with a different language. So why do we have different coding? Because the frameworks which are there probably may not support responsive nature. You have to dedicatedly make it for mobile a separate application in a different programming language. That could be one reason, guys. Of course, there are more reasons, but this is one reason. SAP UI5 here allows you to build a single application which works for all the devices. Isn't that an amazing thing? That write once and you can use it in multiple devices. That's the biggest benefit, and that is why it's pitching in. Now the question comes, Anubhav, how come it is different than WebDin Pro? What is the advantage of learning UI5? I already learned WebDin Pro and BSP. I'm already comfortable. What is the advantage? The advantage, guys, it's based on open standards. Okay. You would see that later point of time, we'll discuss about features like custom control, custom styling. All these things you cannot do. Just to take a very small example, if you go to browser, you will observe that there are back and forward button on the top in the browser, these buttons. This is a very small example. We cannot support these two buttons with the WebDin Pro and BSP. Not supported. So for that reason, if those who have worked on WebDin Pros, you already know that for that reason, we have to add an additional back button and forward button within the page. Now, those who don't know WebDin Pro and BSP, ignore this question. Okay, ignore this question. So try to understand that certain things are becoming a bottleneck for developers, and you have to also make sure the application adapt itself according to the device. This is being the biggest reason why SAP UI5 is the preferred choice of development, no matter which product of SAP are you working. Are you working with web on HANA? Are you working on Suite? Are you working on S4? Doesn't matter. Are you working on Hyperion? Are you working on maybe business by design? Most of the UIs these days, or you're working a native cloud product, are being built using SAP Fiori as the front-end technology, SAP UI5 and Fiori as the front-end technology. That's the reason if you learn SAP UI5, you can go and work in any projects, because there will be need for UI developers no matter what is the backend, be it ABAP, be it Java, be it Node.js. The front end is always going to be SAP UI5, even though those who are working on native HANA development still being the front end as SAP UI5. So this is going to give you a great advantage as compared to your colleagues in their company to be able to respond faster with any kind of requirement for UI. I see most of the time people are comfortable with ABAP, with a rich ABAP experience, but whenever somebody talks about UI, they have no clue. And now all the UIs are getting developed in UI5 and Fiori, and you might have already seen that trend coming into your company, into your areas. All right, so let's discuss about what is the basic way by which we can call this framework. So we said that it's a framework which we can reuse, and we can reuse its libraries, its functions, its classes to be able to develop an app. Now, the first question comes, how can I reference this framework, guys? This is a very first question. Now, to reference the framework, we have multiple techniques. The one technique is we download. So what are all the techniques to reference the framework? What are all the first technique to be able to do that is using the local. So we can use local reference of SAP UI5. The another technique is called reference from CDN. CDN stands for Content Distribution or Content Delivery Network. What we can do, guys, it's actually available into the cloud, onto the internet. And you can tell this CDN, which is provided by Akamai. Akamai is a company which SAP has tied up to be able to deliver the UI5 versions on the internet directly. So what you can do is you can call this content delivery network. Basically, there is a URL which you can use, and you can load the SAP UI5 framework in a browser. Where will you be loading? You will be loading in your browser. So ultimately, what will happen? You are going to run an application in a browser. All right, and then what will be happening is there will be a server somewhere on internet, and we are calling this server as Akamai server. All right, and this will be there somewhere on internet. Let's assume this is a cloud server, and here we have SAP UI5 available. And what we're going to do is we'll say, hey browser, could you please go and load this SAP UI5 from this internet server, right? Just the way you type gmail.com to load a Gmail website, just the way you use facebook.com to load Facebook website. Similarly, we'll be using some URL to load SAP UI5 framework as part of our browser page to be able to start. So option number one, I will discuss little later when we'll talk about tooling and installation of Web IDE. For this demo purpose, I'm not going to cover installation of Web IDE and development tools. That's covered in our session, next session. So in the next session, we will start tooling first of all. So let's move on and see how can I now use option number two to be able to load the SAP UI5 framework from an internet page, right? And this URL is fixed, guys. This is provided by SAP to be able to load this UI5 framework. So for that, we have to get started with a very fresh project, and we will start with something called HTML file. An HTML file is what browser can understand. So what we'll be doing is we will be creating an HTML file. All right, and you can also create this with a notepad, guys, but to begin with, just to give you an idea, I will be using SAP Web IDE tool. The question comes is, Anubhav, how can I get SAP Web IDE tool in my system? Don't worry about that. That's something we will discuss in the next class. I will not go in any jargons, terminologies in the course. I will make sure that I treat each one of my students with equality. Some of you may have a very good idea about UI5 already. Some of you have a brief idea. Some of you are beginners. Some of you have no idea. My intention or job will be to make sure that you are all at the same page at the same time. So we will be looking into installation, setup, whatever is needed to be able to start our development in our machine, and what are the different techniques to develop, what are the standards, best practices. Everything will be covered as a package, including interview questions and complimentary OOPS app as part of this course. All right, so we will be creating an HTML file, submitting it to the browser to execute, and then browser will be loading this UI5 framework from internet, and then we will be able to use this library. So once it's loaded, once the framework is loaded, you can see you get these libraries, you get these classes, and then you get these features to be able to create an application. All right, so let's look at step number one, where we will create a simple HTML file as part of our development tool, and then load this UI5 framework. Now guys, to load this, there is a special symbol or a special cat or a special syntax is called script tag. We have to use something called a script tag to be able to load any external libraries. All right, so that's the tag which we use in HTML to do so. So we'll be using script tag to do so. And any HTML page has a basic structure. It has something called a header, and it has something called a body. Okay, that's what an HTML page has. So let's start writing this. So we'll write an HTML page which has a header and a body, and then we will be using this script tag to load the UI5 framework first of all as part of our web application, web page. So let's get into the system. Once again, I would like to quickly tell you that the development tool setup, this is the web IDE tool. I will explain you in our next class, where I will show you from scratch. I will literally spoon feed the steps to be able to set up this development environment in your machine, and there is no system requirement. If you have just a basic simple laptop with any Windows version or Mac version plus a simple internet connection, you are good to go. You're good to go, guys. Nothing else is required. All right, so let's come here, workspace. I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a new folder, and I will say my demo project. So we're creating a very first UI5 project, and you see there's an empty folder which is created. I'm now going to add a new HTML file inside. So I will usually name it as any name you can give. You can name it as your own name.html. It's up to you guys. There's no hard and fast rule, but good practice, the standard practice says please keep the file name as index.html. All right, because it's gonna be the starting index, the starting page for your application. And now you see a simple file has been created over here. Let me zoom in the fonts. And what I have to just told you is we will have a simple HTML file which includes a header and a body. So let's do that. I will say create an HTML file. The first line of any HTML file is the type declaration, which indicates what is this file type. Yeah, this file type is an HTML file. What is this declaration? We will discuss that in our HTML chapter number 1. All right, we will have introduction of HTML. There will be dedicated sessions on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, where we will discuss all these things more in detail. All right, now coming next, we have the HTML document tag, which starts an HTML page. It has a header, and then it has also a body. So that's how a simple HTML page looks like. And now I can also execute this. Let me write some content in the body of HTML. Guys, remember the golden rule. Whatever you put in the body of HTML is what people can see, what end users can see. Whatever you put in the body, the first funda fox of the class, guys. What is funda fox? It's my own invented word in my college days, which indicates something very important. Okay, so the funda fox here is whatever you put in the body, so users can see on the web page what a developer puts on into the body of HTML. All right, so users can see on the web page. What user can see on the web page is decided by what developer puts in the body of HTML. That's our first funda fox of the class. Similar to this, we will be having lots of funda fox discussed, which are so important for you to understand and get a depth idea about that particular topic. All right, let's move on. So I will be putting something, let's say, welcome to demo session on http www.onlinefiorytrainings.com. Save that. You can use the save button or Control S as the shortcut, and now you can just click on run button. All right, let's execute that, guys. And awesome, you can see the application executes and we get this kind of hello world program, guys. So you got this text exactly printed on the UI in a web page. Awesome. So that's our very first, but yet it's not UI5. It's a very simple HTML page, which we will also again discuss about these different tags in our HTML chapter. But how to make it as a UI5 page now, probably. Yeah, the foremost thing, you've got to initialize the UI5 framework. You got to tell the system, hey, I would like to load this UI5 framework from the internet, and I need to tell it a URL where it is placed. So the very first thing which I would like to quickly show you here, let me press F12 keys to show you guys what has been loaded in the browser. And we go to the sources here, and you would observe that system has only loaded your HTML file, index.html, which you created. And it is loaded some kind of UI inspector, but that's okay, which is right now not of our interest. But you would observe that it has not loaded the UI5 framework. Okay, there is no UI5 framework loaded right now in the system. So now how do we load UI5 framework? As I told you, we will be going to CDN to do that. So let's come here to header tag. Header is the brain of your HTML. Any kind of initialization, loading of the resources, everything will be done into the header. And now what I'm going to do is I will just write here a script tag, and we'll put the source. Where is the URL? What is the URL to load SAP UI5 framework? Please tell me that. And then additionally, we can also give additional properties about which library to load. So that is given by data-SAP UI lib. This is how you tell the system, hey, which library you would like to load. I would like to load certain library like SAP M in this case. And then you can also tell the system to load certain theming. So theming is all about coloring and styling. So guys, whenever you might have seen some demos, or in your company might have seen some existing Fiori apps, they look little blue color. Why do they look little blue color? Why do they have certain look and feel? That is done with the help of something called theming property, which we also add here as part of initialization. Data SAP UI theme. So these are all the initial parameters with which we are loading the SAP UI5 framework as part of our page. Yeah, and then we will end the script tag. You can directly end with a slash here, or you can also end it with the script tag itself. So let me just put an end of script tag like this. Simple. And now let's give the URL here. What will be the URL from where we're loading? So guys, this URL you don't need to remember. I will tell you in the chapter number 7 UI5 SDK, how can you find this URL on the internet directly. All right, so right now don't panic, just remember this URL. It's https sapui5.hana.ondemand.com/resources/SAP UI core.js. Okay. This is the URL, guys. You don't need to by heart this URL. I will tell you the techniques in upcoming days to find out this URL yourself. All right. And now comes is a library. I would like to load only this SAP M library. M stands for mobile library. I will tell the system, hey, please load the framework, and together with that, please load this library of my choice. And also at the end, we will say a theme called SAP Blue Crystal. So to get that feel, to get that look and feel of the app. And also in the body tag, we will just put a class name here called SAP UI body. Okay, that's what we have done. So what we have done, once again, we have created a very simple HTML page with a header and a body. In the body part, we have just put a very simple text right now to display. We executed it, worked. And then we are here loading as part of our initialization step SAP UI5 framework from CDN. We are telling the system, please load this framework from this path, and also kindly load the library only SAPM, because it comes with so many libraries and I don't want to overload my loading time, or I don't want to take time to load all the libraries. This is why I just mentioned specific library which I will be using. And then I will tell the theme which I would be using is SAP Blue Crystal theme to get that look and feel. All right, save that. Let's come back on the right side and refresh the page. And as it's taking a little bit of time, press F12 and you can check here if there is a problem or everything is fine. I can see, guys, it has not loaded the UI5 framework on the right side. Okay, it did not actually, because I can also make out with the background color of the page. If it would have loaded the UI5 framework properly, then the background color would have changed nicely already. All right, it did not load, so which means essentially that something is wrong in my code. It could be something with the URL which we had put. It could be something with the page which we have put. So that could be something which is going wrong. We have to investigate. So I think it is the URL which I put here is wrong, and it should be, I think, resources/SAP UI core.js. Let me give one more try. It was a typo from my side. I'll refresh once again. And now you can see it is still taking a little bit of time to load. Basically, it's trying to load the library from the internet where the UI5 framework is placed. And voila, now you see, guys, the background color of my page is changed to light blue color. You would have seen this being the background color for any Fiori application. This is what indicates that the framework is loaded successfully. You can now come to the sources and find an entry over here in the sources that it has loaded the UI5 framework from SAP UI5.HANA on demand.com. Awesome, guys. So don't worry about how did I got this bottom window, what is the sources, what is these different sections. That's covered in detail in our DOM chapter. We will discuss about these tools of the browser in detail in our DOM chapter. But right now, just to show you guys how the things are moving, step by step, line by line, how the things are happening. That's what we are doing. All right, so that was step number one, initialization of our library, initialization of UI5 framework into the browser, and loading the necessary libraries, themes as part of our page. Step number one done. Guys, this is how we will be building the entire bigger applications over a period of time. Step by step, line by line, a promise from my side of no copy paste. No copy paste, because trainers who teaches copy paste, they just get away with their responsibilities by simply copy pasting the code. They will download some code from internet, they will copy paste that, and they will show you the output and run away. That way you will miss out the depth understanding of each line of code. What is that each line is doing? You need to understand the meaning of the code, because at times you may be not into the scratch development, but you are also in a production where you have to fix the issues which are coming in existing application, and the app is not developed originally by you. So you need to be very thorough with each line of the code, how the lines are designed, what does the meaning of each line, and how can it impact you. So this is how you can fix the bugs which you have, critical bugs in the production system and the app which is not even developed by you, right? So we'll be looking at all those standards and all these coding practices line by line, no copy paste of code. And I would also recommend all of my students to not copy paste the code. Please write down the code line by line. It's going to take initially a little bit more time, and it may also cause at times some frustration, but please understand that this is going to be a great advantage for you in a longer run. It's going to have a very good advantage you will have as compared to anybody else in your team. All right, so now let's move on to the next step. We are now going to initialize a control. I want to put a button control. So now we've got this library, but what is the use of this library? Right? You bought a computer, you bought a phone at home. What is the use of that phone? What is the use of that laptop which you bought? You wanted to do something with that, right? So we have loaded here the library, and now we want to use one of the library, which is SAP M, and one of its UI control. You can see there's a button control I'm going to use to display a button on the UI. All right, it's kind of very simple application we're building. So what is the syntax we use to create a control? What is the syntax here to create a control? The syntax to create a control is var. Var indicates creating a variable, and you got to give some name. So I'm putting all the keywords in the bolder letters, guys. All the keywords which are putting there in bold letters, which means they're keywords, you have to use them as it is. And then you can use OBTN, whatever name you would like to give. And then you have to use another keyword called new keyword, and then you have to put library name dot class name of that library, and then we have to come inside, put a parenthesis. Guys, very trivial thing but very important. Symbols will break you or make you. Symbols will break you. So symbols are so important in programming. This may look very trivial, guys, but at times we say things, one thing with other thing, we mix up and we call them interchangeably, and that's going to showcase that how depth you are experienced in certain technology. Because when you're talking to a very senior technical guy in your team, they will be judging you actually with what you talk. So guys, be careful with the symbols. This symbol is called parenthesis. This is called curly braces. And this is called bracket. All right. So very often it happens that when you're working, you would use these things interchangeably. I see very often even experience of 6-year, 8-year developers, they call this guy as a bracket. And now you're telling on the phone to your colleague, hey, please put a bracket. The guy is understanding bracket means this, which is actually, and you are assuming that he is going to put this piece of code, and that is going to create confusion. And that will at times becomes also reflect bad on your skill set, how depth is your skill set about the symbols, how good you understand the symbols in the programming in specific cases of UI5 and Fiori. So guys, try to understand it's a parenthesis here in the syntax. Your syntax is going to completely depend on these symbols. Then we have SID, then we have curly braces and properties. All right, that's the syntax, guys, to create your first UI control as part of UI5. So here, what is SID? SID stands for unique ID of every control. Unique ID of an element which we put on the UI. Okay. The second argument is S properties. This includes the properties, events, methods, etc. as part of this. All right. So if you just quickly look at here, you would find there are a lot of events, properties, and aggregations, functions are part of this class. So we will be putting all of that because you're using a class actually here, and that is what we will be doing. So we are actually using a class here, and this class will have a lot of properties, events, methods, and stuff like that. So that will come all inside curly braces. So with that syntax, let's go ahead and create our first button control. The library which we will be using here is going to be sap.mlibrary. The class name which we will be using is the button class, and the properties which we will be using, the button properties like text property or press event to be able to show something when user clicks on the button. So here we have the library name which I'll be using as SAP mlibrary. All right, and that's what we will be using. When it comes to the control name, we will be using the button control. And then when it comes to the method and properties, I will be using something called a text property to give text for the button. Yeah, and I will also give a press event which triggers whenever user clicks on a button. So when user clicks on a button, this press event will trigger. At front of this press event, I will be providing a function name, and basically when user clicks on the button, a press event triggers, and when the event triggers, this event can call something called a function. Okay, and this function I will be writing in the syntax. Okay, this is a syntax to write a function. You will put function parentheses in which you can put parameters if you wish to, and then you have curly braces, and in that you will be writing your code to be able to call that piece of code whenever this event triggers. All right, so that's the flow, guys. Let's use the syntax. We have button, library name is SAP M, class name is button, and then we will put some ID, some random ID I'm going to put, and then we will be putting the properties of the control, including event press. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come back step by step, line by line. Once again, we got to write a script tag, and inside this we will be writing our first button control. So say var obtn equals to new, the library name sap.m is the library name, dot, the class name is the button is the class name, and now put parenthesis, and now here we will be putting some ID. So let me give some ID to the button. ID is ID. That's the ID of my button. You can keep anything over here. Make sure that this is fixed. This is the part of syntax. You can't play around with this, but this one you can play around always. Anything you wish you can put, comma, curly braces, and now here is part of curly braces. We'll put the text property to give the label for the button. So I will say label of my button, welcome UI5. That's the label of my button I would like to put. End the statement with semicolon. Save this. But guys, the golden rule, the funda box which we just learned about, what user can see, guys? User can only see what you put on the body of HTML, isn't it? Right? User can only see what you put in the body of HTML. So we got to place this button into the body of HTML. That's very important for us. So what we will be doing, we'll be creating an element here. Basically a placeholder I am creating here, and I'm giving an ID to this placeholder, and I'll tell the system the ID of this placeholder is Anubhav. So guys, just the way in any programming language, anywhere, suppose you buy a car. When you buy a car, you need a parking space to park that car at your home, right? So this is our parking space to bring that car onto the page. So our car here is the button car, and this car needs to be parked into this parking. So I've created a parking space now, basically a placeholder into the body. Inside the body, it's a placeholder where I will be getting this button control and displaying it on the UI. That's what exactly we're doing. So, but it won't come naturally. It won't know that I have to go and sit inside this element Anubhav. It won't go. So for that, we have to call a method. We have to call a function, guys. And the function name is called place add function. And now I have to tell where is the parking, what is the parking number. The parking number, can anybody guess? Anyone? What is the name of the parking where this button should go and sit? Anybody? What is the name of that parking? What is that unique identifier, guys, of parking? Where will it park? Anyone? Could you please tell me? What do you think is the name of the parking? Absolutely, that's the parking space name. So I'm going to put that parking space name, and now they're connected. What system does? It's going to first create a button object, and this button object then will be placed as part of this this parking space or this placeholder inside the body of HTML, and that's the exact reason this button will be displayed on the UI. If you don't place this method, if you don't call this place method to place the button into the parking space, into this placeholder in the body, you won't see the button. Even though you created the button object, you won't see it on the page. All right, with that we understood every single line, and now I just go move on and refresh our page. And voila, there you go. You can see, guys, a nice, simple, cute button is part of my page. But now let's see, when I click on the button, nothing is happening. The reason is so simple, guys. We have not written any code for the event. So user does a press on the button, and we have not written any code for press. What should happen on press of the button? So let's quickly do that. And I'm going to come back here and I'll say press. And I will just put a function in front of that. And now inside this function, I'm going to write some piece of code. So watch out, there's a fixed statement called alert function. This is another function which I'm using to give a pop-up to the user, and I will say welcome to online Fiori trainings.com. Superb. So what I've done is I have written a function. So whenever somebody press a button, this function gets triggered, and this function is going to show you an alert pop-up. Okay, it's a built-in function. It's a ready-to-use function, guys. It's a ready-made function which is available. You can use this function to show a pop-up on the UI. All right, so now we have added the event handler. Now the question comes is, Anubhav, how do you know that there is a text property? How do you know that there is a press event which is part of this button control? Right, this is something we will cover in our chapter number 10, where we will talk about SAP UI5 SDK. Don't panic, guys. You will know every single line of code, and you will also know where will Anubhav learn these things from. I am going to give you the secrets and the sources where you can go and yourself find out where all these properties and events part of a UI control. This is what we will be discussing in chapter number 10. But before that, important will be to make our fundamentals ready, including HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. Once again, I would say there is zero prerequisite to learn this course. If you are just a basic ABAP knowledge, more than enough. If you just have any programming knowledge, basic programming language knowledge, be it C programming, C++, VB, .NET, Java, anything, it's okay for me to get ahead with this course. At least programming knowledge is important. If you don't have a programming knowledge, I would not recommend you to go ahead with this course. All right, I would not recommend you to go ahead with this course. You need to know the programming, basic programming, if-else statement, basic programming is required, because this course is for developers, guys. Okay, this course is for developers. This course is for people who would like to design the UI. You may be working with Portal in the past, and now there's no opening for the Portal. All right, so now we had put this piece of code. Let's go ahead and test it. Refresh, and I'll just click once again, and voila, there you go. You can see there is this pop-up which comes and it says welcome to onlinefioritrainings.com. Awesome. So that's what our exercise, guys. That was our demo session. And now quickly taking the questions here in the chat window. There's a question here from Manoranjan. What we want to display web page must be coded in the body. All right, so if you want to code the web page in the body, actually, Manoranjan, what we do is we also do not follow this approach. This approach which I showed you here is just for demo purpose. We will be talking about an architecture called MVC. MVC stands for Model View Controller Architecture. We will be talking about in chapter number 11, where we will discuss about what is the best practice to design an application. We never actually play around with HTML, because you cannot. If you want to design a really big application, you got to modularize just the way you do it today, in putting your code in separate classes, function modules, dialog programs, or maybe a web intro components, or view controller, or probably component controller. So you are modularizing your application. Similarly, we have modularized our entire application using MVC architecture. We cannot push everything in a single HTML file. It's not recommended. So that is the time when we will see. Even we will not do this one. This is just for demo purpose, how a simple UI5 page can be built. It can display the content and it can work along with it. That's the whole idea of this demo, guys. It is not an idea to build an end-to-end application in today's demo session. Just give you an idea about framework, how to bring the framework, how to load the library, how to use one single library, display something on the UI, to get that hands-on, get that first feel of UI5, how we are going to do that. Once again, we will not be using HTML way of building things up. Okay, can we have a server practice for daily session, guys? Once again, I would like to quickly tell you, we will be using web IDE tool. We will not be starting right away from day one into OData. OData is coming towards very end. We will be first getting mastery into UI5 and Fiori libraries and frameworks and techniques and different concepts like formatters, fragments, binding types, binding modes, property binding, aggregation binding, element binding, and then we'll be talking about how to apply scaffolding template, load UI5 best practices using the JavaScript programming to be able to do things, XML views, the library references, the namespace concepts, the component JS, router, root match handler, manifest JSON, all these things we're going to discuss first. And then at the end, we will move to the OData, where we will build OData, connect OData, and finally deploy a real-time Fiori application as part of our system and transport it and make it usable for the end users. That will be the entire flow. So you would not need any SAP system to begin with this course immediately. You would need Web IDE, which is also free. I will guide you how to set up that in your computer and to be able to use it from day one. All right. So right now, there's no need. I will save a lot of your funds to be wasted to get a server access. Not needed, guys, to day one. I will tell you when it is needed and what are all the options for the server we have for building an OData, and that is the time when it comes. I will guide you guys. Right now, I'm going to save a lot of your funds to be able to not get it into that area, which is currently not into the context. All right, how the UI5 application differs from WebDintro. The first biggest reason, it adapts itself according to the device. A WebDintro application probably not be working suitably into mobile device, but a UI5 or a Fiori application, while following the guidelines, it is going to adapt itself automatically as per the devices you are running this app. All right, that's the major difference. That's the first thing. Second thing is WebDintro is based out of technologies which are server-side technologies like ABAP and Java. However, the UI5 is based out of the open standard technologies, so-called HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. This is what SAP UI5 is based out of. Definitely, this is a good interview question. There are questions like, what is the difference between HTML5 and UI5? Questions like, what is the difference between UI5 and Open UI5 and SAP UI5? These are all the interview questions we will be covering as part of our course. Don't panic, don't worry. All of this is planned, and part of this course, you will be discussing that in detail. So with that, it's a wrap on today's demo session. I hope you enjoyed the demo session line by line, every single line of code, understanding the depth of the code. For more details, you can subscribe to my courses on my website, onlinefioretrainings.com. You can also find out the course content of the each course. And guys, good news is you have free interview questions on UI5 and Fiori available absolutely free on my website, onlinefioretrainings.com. Thank you so much once again. Have a nice day and goodbye. And now, guys, you guys can start asking questions one by one by unmuting your line. One question, please.
Here. So are we covering the Fiori Launchpad as part of this program?
Not right now, sir. We will not be able to cover, and at times some trainers will claim you that they will cover Launchpad as part of the course. They will be compromising with the quality and the content. because the time duration, you got to look at time duration. Most of the trainers have 40 hours of duration. If they are saying they will cover Launchpad as part of same course, they are compromising the quality and they are compromising with certain topics. All right, Launchpad is
that means like you have a different course for covering
yes.
this Launchpad.
It's again 50 hours of course, which includes complete installation, setup, configuration, security, Fiori Launchpad, Launchpad designer, theme designer, Grunt.js base build, OPA 5, Q unit, best practice build in WebID full stack, multiple workspaces, how to design journeys in UI5, build tool, prototyping to the production. Then we'll have installation, configuration, extension of standard Fiori application which SAP delivers, activation, deactivation, activating standard apps, extending them with the new fields, key user capabilities, Fiori Launchpad concept, S4HANA capabilities, offline capabilities using hybrid application development toolkit, then creating the extension of OData services. All of this course is part of this advanced Fiori course. Again, 50 hours of course. I cannot compromise with the quality and the content. And this current course is 40 plus hours. And then the OSABAP is not part of this 40 hours. That's separate, that's complementary on top of it. So you can imagine the kind of content, the kind of design which I've given to my course, going to give you an end-to-end overview. Somebody saying that they will cover in 40 hours everything, they are compromising with the quality, they are compromising with topics. Because time duration is same, how can they adjust these things as part of a single course? That's something I do not appetite, guys. To be very honest, you can today go to YouTube and check the different trainers videos. Don't buy my courses first, explore the market. No problem. You got to go internet, check out the trainers. Are they really going to deliver the value which they are quoting you? Do they have demo videos for such things? Are they having the demo videos for such things? Look at my channel videos, the kind of learning university which I'm making. You will find content right from scratch, from the beginning till the advanced level. The kind of content which I posted only on UI5, it's more than the content what people offer in their training. That much demo itself I have posted. You can see 53 demo videos here on UI5, guys.
Okay, what's the schedule for the Launchpad course? Can you do you have any
Launchpad course is the first course, of course. To learn Fiori Launchpad and stuff like that, you should know first the component.js. You should know first the manifest. You should know the app structure. You should know the folder structure. You should know the web IDE. You should know the connectivity, new app JSON. You should know manifest JSON. You should know the deployment structure. You should know the annotations. You should be able to know how to deploy and consume and transport the application, how to connect to OData services. All that is covered in first course. So don't think this first course.
What is the schedule for this Fiori Launchpad course?
Right now, it's only available in video mode. Right now, there is no schedule available for this course. It's only available in video mode, and the recordings were recordings of January 2019. Okay, they are latest.
Okay. So that's it. Yeah, another question what I have is like every day, like how long the class duration is going to be?
The class duration from my side will be every day 1 hour. Yeah, but I am not so strict in closing and rushing away with the class. Usually after the class, there will be question and answer session where immediately after the class where you guys can ask your questions about the topic which we cover on the day. I do keep the buffer for 50% actually, which means after the class, 30 more minutes given to your hand to ask questions on that class. Timings are going to be same 7 to 8 o'clock morning. I've already published the schedule on the website. You can go and check that.
So for this OData service, right? So in the end, you said like we are going to cover OData service, right?
Yes.
So do we need to have a SAP access for the OData service, or are you going to provide any server for that?
All right. Most of the students who come to my course are working professionals in the company. They already have a server. And this is the reason I don't charge people for the server. I don't bound them to buy server access from me. All right. They have a free choice. They can decide where they want. Okay. They can also Google and get it. They want to probably do it by their own, or I don't know. So this is the reason the fees does not include the server charges. If you want server, we can arrange an S4HANA server, guys. The beauty of this server, it can run from your local computer, just the way in your company you are using your company servers, guys. Similarly, you can use this server here from your local computer. And the good news is this server is going to help you to learn all three courses. Complete three set of courses, be it ABAP on HANA, be it S4 HANA, be it Launchpad Fiori Security, be it UI5 Fiori, OData, Launchpad Designer, Theme Designer, CDS Views, EMDPs, ADPCs, SQL Scripting. Every single course of mine can be practiced upon with one single server. It's not a server which is from Hyderabad running on backdate. Pirated CDs were installed. That server, it's not that, guys. It's a fully licensed, fully activated appliance. That's the reason those people who are offering server in a cheaper rate, they cannot give you local computer access the way we give. We give access from local computer. You can install Servo in your local machine and connect to this server. Most of the people who offer you server, they give you MSTSC access. They won't give you local because they cannot. The moment they expose to internet, SAP will catch them. Yeah. They are running server on backdate pirated server with older version. Ours is NetWeaver 7.53, which is latest in market with SAP S4HANA 1809. This is NetWeaver.
Do you know what's the charges for monthly for this?
For this, it will be 2,500 per month per user. Yet you don't need it from day one. I am telling you, I will save a lot of your funds. If you don't have a server, don't take the server right away. I will save a lot of your funds. I will save your money not taking the server unnecessarily. When the time comes, I will guide you. I will guide you with all the options of server you have available.
So last question I would have is do we need to learn or know what for SAP workflow while working with OData?
Not at all. Zero workflow knowledge required. 10%, 20% basic ABAP knowledge, good for OData development. Rest all zero prerequisite for this course. No workflow required.
So let me put the question other way. When we are learning SAP Launchpad, at that time do we need to know the workflow?
Yes, that time 10-20% workflow is required because that time you will be designing applications like My Inbox app. Have you seen my YouTube video on My Inbox app on the YouTube? There is a video on YouTube about My Inbox app, which is nothing but your workflow configuration. So whenever user creates a workflow, a work item gets created into user's workspace, right? So that's a My Inbox Fiori application. Please watch my video on internet, how to create a cloud workflow. So this is part of, again, advanced Fiori training. Yeah. So this is the kind of workflow we create, and all that is needed for advanced Fiori training, basic workflow. However, good news, I also offer workflow training, yet only in video mode. If you wish or you like my style of teaching without copy paste, you can subscribe to my workflow training also from my website. All right. Now coming to the point, how do you subscribe for the course? You got to drop an email to my secretary, install.abap@gmail.com. Please do that so you can always email her, and she will provide you the necessary details based on the country where you are, based on the location where you are. She will provide you all the details. Please do contact my secretary. You can also drop an email to me directly on anubhav.abap@gmail.com. You guys are already aware of my email ID. You can also drop an inquiry to the website on online Fiori trainings.com. There are multiple ways, but we will not approach you guys. We don't do any passive marketing like other training institutes who keep calling you, keep bugging you, sir, please take my course, please take my course. We don't do that. It's up to you. It's up to the student to decide whether they want to take a charge of their career or not. Let me tell you honestly, guys, not taking a decision is also a decision which you are taking, and you are postponing the decision is also a decision which you have taken, which is going to hamper you. Things are not going to change until you take an action. Until you take an action, things are not going to change. Just to show you some testimonials about the people who took the action at the right time, who took the charge of their career at the right time, and they have created miracles. Yeah, just to show you a couple of emails which I've received continuously from my students. Some people have got 2 to 3 offers in their hand today. 2 offers they have from multinational companies in their hand today, guys. Some of the people who have cracked almost every single interview. You can see here, Anubhav, I'm extremely happy Extremely happy to inform you that I got selected for UI5 developer contract role in Pfizer. As I told you a few weeks earlier, I had 2 interviews scheduled for UI5 role. I am happy to share that I cracked both the interviews and got selected in both of them. One is Pfizer and one is Campbell. So the Pfizer offer got executed first, so I accepted the offer. From 1st of October, I will be working with Pfizer as UI5 developer role. You can see the success stories. I have many of them. You cannot even imagine the kind of success stories my students have created around me. I'm writing this email to say thank you for changing my life. Opted for UI5 course 4 months ago. Very hard work to finally landed to a job post on Fiori consultant. So be it like Fiori consultant, be it like Fiori security consultant, be it like UI5. So these are all things, and you can, I would say, you are open, go and check out different trainings, different trainers across the world. No matter where you want to go, you can go and check it out. And once you get your satisfaction, then only choose your trainer wisely, guys, because there are never bad students, there are always bad teachers. So if you by any chance get stuck with a bad teacher, you would end up not just wasting your money but also your precious time. So be careful, guys. You can see he got selected again in 2 companies, EY and Accenture. She got selected. So this is the situation. This is the thing which my students are actually doing it. So you can see the kind of success stories. In fact, today itself I've got an email. Just today itself, you can see this is today, 6th of Jan. No, this is not today. There was also an email which I received today from one of my students. He also got selected with one of the companies. So I have lots of continuous email. You can see this is one 2 hours ago. This one I've got it today. Your teaching skills is really great. I haven't come across such a great trainer with the capabilities to deliver things amazing. I would like you to know that I have videos of workflows and web infos. I would like to refresh myself. I feel you're awesome and you would have converted the greatest extent of anyone. So you can see this the feedback which I receive continuously, and this is the true emails which I receive from many of you guys. So to be very honest, that's the feedback, guys, and it's up to you now. You're open to go ahead and take your decisions. Not taking a decision is also a decision. You're postponing it. You are not going to change the world around you.
Yeah, Anubhav, also need
one by one, please.
Yeah, actually, I have already subscribed for 2 of your trainings, like this UI5 and the advanced theory. As this was company sponsored, so I had to take both immediately. So I just wanted to know how we can proceed with that, because this is the prerequisite training for the advanced level.
Yes, but I would like to also inform you that certain topics, like if you just want to activate an app which SAP delivers in your company, and that is their priority. They don't want to develop custom app. They want rather to activate you a standard Fiori app. You can look into certain topics which are part of this course. I think module is activated for you. You can go and check the blog and videos. So there you see certain videos like installing Fiori app, activating a standard Fiori app. That something has no dependency with the development part here, the coding part here. So you can directly jump to that topic which is burning for you. All right, in this course.
Actually, it is not like that. Like I have time for that. It is not like I'm not in hurry. So I just wanted to know, because I guess I subscribed for the video trainings, but the thing is that was because my office timing starts from 7:30. But I'll try to attend the trainings online, because I guess you have the flexibility also. If you're subscribing it for the video trainings, I can attend the next batch. So I'm trying to attend as much as I can. But the thing is, because this tenure is of 8 months only, as told by the secretary. So how will adjust? Like this is the first training which I'll get, and then the second after this, will I be joining it, or how it is?
So first I would say please complete this training which you are currently enrolled, and then move to the advanced Fiori Launchpad training.
Yeah, Anubhav, one more question, right?
Yes.
Are we going to get the recorded sessions to us after the
Yes.
class,
Yes.
so that we can refer that?
So those who have already subscribed to my training, I have already got around 20 enrollments on the day 1. With this demo, there are 20 people already who are attending as part of the class number 1. Guys, you would have received a blog access already. The blog was already created. Okay, so this is already available, and most of you have already received this blog where this demo session will also be published. Right now the blog is empty, this session which we are conducting right now, the first session, this will be published on the training blog. And you see complimentary OOPS ABAP sessions which I promised you are already there in the blog. Anyways, you can utilize your time and get started with them. But our demo session which we are doing right now will be also available here in this training blog over here. And similarly, as and when we complete the class, we will keep getting those videos. You will keep on getting these videos, guys. As and when I complete the sessions, you will get these videos. And till the last session, I've already added the titles over here, and then you will be just getting a video below every single session. Of course, yes. So live training, you will also get videos after the class, and they will be valid for 8 months from the start of training, which is today. So from today, 8 months, it will be valid for all of you.
So this is Ranjit. I'm trying to test the Dodo sample application from looking at what your demo right today, and I came across one problem in the sense that I'm not able to see the help that I get while typing, while entering this objects. I'm not able to see the syntax help in the web ID. So is there anything that I should enable?
Yes, sir. You have to make sure that the file extension is .js. So let's say anubhav.js. I just quickly create. And if you'd like to create something now, here you would see the help. So if we type here var x and as a new sap.m.button, control space, then you will be able to see. But let me just quickly add something. Now this is a little heavy dose of antibiotic, guys, because since you asked me a little advanced question, I'm just moving to this little advanced thing. But don't worry about, some of you may not really understand what's going on. Don't panic, don't worry. All right, so don't do that, guys. But it just I'm showing it here. Okay, so this is very advanced stuff, and but since there's a question here, I got to answer in the same way. Though it is advanced, I got to answer that question, and that's why. So your file extension must be JS, and now you would see here the syntax would appear actually. The code completion will appear, and make sure that you also check the project settings. So you right click and go to project settings, and here in the project settings, make sure that the project type is marked as SAP FIORI. All right, this must be there. All right, that's one thing, and it has to follow SAP UI5 project structure. That's so important. Otherwise, you will not be able to look at the code help. Okay, so you can see now it's showing the syntax help here has own property or something. So it will show you. Make sure the file extension is .js. The code completion is a feature which is available only for .js and .xml file extensions, not for .html file extensions. All right. We will discuss about code completion also in detail, including stem cells.
Excellent. Anubhav, question. So when you upload the videos to the blog, will that allow us to download those videos, or it's just only?
No, we don't allow downloads of videos. This is the reason you will have 8 months of access for the video, and later on, if you wish to extend, you can also extend it with a minimal storage fees into the cloud, because we will not charge you again training fee. We will only charge you the storage fees, provided that you keep renewing the subscription every month by one. If you break a month, then again, if you subscribe after 1 year, then again we charge 50% of the fees to take the course. Otherwise, we don't charge students again and again the course fees. But I would say, do not have the mindset that you will not complete in 8 months. Course is for 2 months. You must significantly or definitely should be able to complete in 8 months. Most slowest of my student was able to complete course in 5 months. And if you don't have time, please at least don't buy course from me. You take the course, you spend your money, and then you don't turn up for the class, you don't attend things, and you give excuses that I have work in office, or I have to take my mom somewhere, or I have to drop my kids to school. If you have those problems, family issues and other stuff, and you don't have time for your learning, I beg all of you, please don't buy my course. Sorry, I don't need your money. I don't need your attention. You can take courses from somewhere else. I don't want you. If you are ready to do hard work, and if you're ready to come regularly to the class, you want to enjoy the session, you want to seriously learn things up and try to build POCs, try to build products, please join my course. This is the place for people who are ready to do hard work, ready to enjoy, ready to be punctual, ready to be consistent in doing what they do. Then this course is for you. Otherwise, sorry, I don't need you as part of my batch. You need to understand that the hard-earned money which you guys are making is so important for me, so pivotal for you. You are doing so much of hard work to do that. Why are you wasting your money just buying a course but not really learning through it? If you really want to learn, please join it.
One more question.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And when is the course is going to start?
It has started today, as it was our first session. And our next session, I'll give 1 day time usually after the demo session. So it will start from 5th, Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock India time, which is most of you 4th, which is Monday evening your time. Monday evening means people who are in US. Timings are fixed. It's 7 to 8 o'clock morning India time, which is actually those who are in India, it will be from Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock India time.
So when we have web IDE, we don't need to use content delivery network, right? Or do we have to use both? Because in the current session, the demo example, you have written web IDE, but you are still loading the framework from CDM.
Absolutely.
So do we need to have both?
No, we don't need to have both. You will either have first or have second. In this demo session, I showed you option number 2. But when we proceed, I will show you option number 1 also. For this, there is a configuration required called Neo App JSON. Okay, this we will cover little later in our course. Our first goal from the next session will be setting up the development environment, because most of us are new. So I will tell you what are the steps to set up web IDE in your local computer, which is free. Also, I will show you how can you also get a free access to web IDE from SAP Cloud Platform, which is so-called web IDE full stack. So both I will explain you in details. All right.
So that means going forward, we'll be using web IDE or CDM.
We will be using web IDE, but the UI5 loading, we can use any of the option. Web IDE is our development tool, but to load UI5 framework, we can use one of these options, and that is dependent on the code, the way you code here. Okay, only this line is what matters, whether we're using local or CDM. Only this line will change. Development tool will remain web IDE as to create views, to create controller, to create different files, managing our project. Everything we will be doing via the web IDE only.
So that brings me to a question. So when you say local web IDE, what about Eclipse? Are we going to use Eclipse? Because Eclipse also local, like you can install on your laptop, right? Local system, right?
No, we will not be using Eclipse in this course. Eclipse is outdated for developing UI5 applications. Eclipse doesn't offer those features which web IDE does. If you still want, very curious about Eclipse versus web IDE, please go to website. There is a free learning series called Anubhav Learning Series for advanced learners on advanced topics, and there is a video I published already, Eclipse or web IDE. There is a presentation hidden here. It's absolutely free video. You can check this video, find out. There is a PPT in that I have clearly distinctly told the differences between Eclipse and web IDE, which one to choose when, how to decide, and how to convince your management in the company to go and buy subscription for web IDE and use web IDE over Eclipse. So you will be the lead. You will be the leader in your company after the course to guide every single person. Trust me, many people who have taken the first step towards UI5 in their company, today they have become team leads. Today they have become Fiori architects. Because they were the only one in the company who could develop things. They were the only one. And managers had no choice rather than promoting that guy, because that's the only guy who knows Fiori. And all the other people even experienced than this guy, more experienced than this guy, work under this guy, because this guy has an experience for UI5 and Fiori better than anybody else. And that's what I want each one of you to become.
So
one more question, like if we take like ABAP background with HANA, so which would be the better results, like SAP Fiori developer
understand. I will take a very simple example. Everybody knows cricket here, right? So what do you choose if you are an IPL owner? You are part of bidding process. Would you just choose a bowler, or would you just choose a batsman, or you would go with an all-rounder? What would you prefer in IPL bidding?
I'll go for an all-rounder.
Absolutely. That's exactly the game here. You have this three-tier architecture, front end, middleware, and the backend. The backend becomes the HANA, the database is the HANA, the middleware is your ABAP stack, which is NetWeaver 7.33 now, 7.53 now, and the front end is your UI5 Fiori. So we are right now doing batting. We are into batting. SAP on HANA and S4 HANA is bowling. And Fiori Launchpad is advanced tactics. All three of them today, if you complete in next 6 months, if you are able to complete all three, nobody can stop your growth. I always tell, if you want to double your salary, triple your learning. Triple your learning, that's the simplest formula, and it worked everywhere. I personally tried that formula. If you want to double your salary, triple your learning, step number 1, UI5 Fiori, step number 2, ABAP on HANA, S4 HANA, that's going to become an all-rounder, and then finally Fiori Launchpad and security for Fiori Architect. These 3 courses very important for anybody's success today. I always recommend to take one by one all 3 courses. So important, guys, to become an all-rounder today. You will be able to work with any stack, any kind of applications.
Thank you. For you guys, the classes are going to be Sunday night to Thursday night, right?
Sunday night to Thursday night for US people. It will be, and if you're in Eastern time zone, then it will be, I think, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time in the evening.
Yeah.
Sunday night, Thursday night.
So only this week we will not have any class on Sunday, but it will start on Monday.
Yes. Only this week, because usually I give 1 day of extra time, and tomorrow, guys, anyways, it's Shivratri. So this is also, it's important for me because I have to get up early and do puja. This is the reason I am skipping tomorrow's class specially. We will also give you 2 or 3 days of holiday during Holi. Yeah? So during Holi time, I will also give you guys a small break for 2 to 3 days, so you guys can go and enjoy with your family and spend some quality time with family. So I'm not I'm not a jallad. All right, so I also understand human emotions, and at times there will be times when I will also give you 1 or 2 days of break in the middle. So don't worry that I will rush like other trainers to just run behind completing the course, even though it is okay to take extra 2 or 3 sessions after we complete the classes. After any times if we have more discussions on certain topics, it's okay to extend 2-3 more sessions also for me. It's not a hard deadline that I will finish the course by this date. Usually what happens, the trainers who are teaching and associated to certain institutes, the institute is a different entity, trainer is a different entity, and they come together and give you training. So what happens, trainer has different ambitions and goals, institute has different ambitions and goals. Institute want you to complete the course faster. Trainer want you to do certain things, but he cannot because institute is forcing to start another batch. Here, both of these entities is a single guy. I am the one who is the institute and I am the one who is the trainer. So it's up to me to take freedom of decision to extend the course 2-3 more extra session if at all it's demands by students. Right. So this is what the kind of flexibility you get. There is no middle layer here. There is no middle institute. So you will be directly subscribing it from my website, directly from straight away from the trainer itself. There is no middle party. So there is no in middle commission also out of the training. You will be charged extra. Other institutes, they will charge you abundance of money. They will take their commission. They will give some commission to other people who get a student. They give some commission to the trainer who is teaching. And then there is a disparity between commitment also. Institute will say for everything, yes. You will say Launchpad, yes, sir, it will be covered. You will say security, yes, it will be covered. You will say CDS, yes, it will be covered. They will say everything, yes, because their purpose is to sell the course. After they sell the course, it is the trainer's headache. And trainer will have a different understanding altogether. Trainer will say, this was not promised to me. I have been told to teach only UI5. Why are you asking this? And then the dispute starts. So be careful, especially in Hyderabad institutes who promise you so many things. Just check the quality of the trainer. Is he doing a copy paste? Is she covering the trainings? Is she have the required knowledge to cover the advanced topics? Will she be able to address your question correctly? all of that is good, you can take training from there. Compare my training with others' training. Take your decision wisely. I don't force anybody to take, and you will not hear from my team even a single email or single call from my team side to buy my course. We never do passive marketing. It is up to the students' conscious decision, conscious mind. You guys are smart enough to take decision. You are mature enough to do it. You already have industry experience. With single look and feel of a demo, you will be able to judge who is better for you.
Hello.
Next question, please.
Hi, Anbu. For pop-up, we are using the alert messaging. Alert. I have from past 5 days. I'm seeing this Fiori training sessions. I have created one view in WebID. I have created a trial version of WebID. So I have created one view based on XML. So I have used this alert pop-up that it is not working. I have used again a message tools.
You have to add a statement called sap.jquery.sap.require to load the module, so-called message toast module if you want, or message box module. So if you use message toast, then I will just use message toast because you have used the same. And the message toast API has a message called show message. Once again, this is little advanced, guys. Somebody is already working on UI5. They are having a problem. They are asking a question here. I'm answering that. Please don't confuse here. This is something little advanced. We will be covering this in details, but just try to understand. Today I'm answering this question, but when we go to the course, I will not be able to answer this question somewhere from middle. This is a very heavy dose. Okay, for some of the other student, it may cause a damage. They will get completely confused by putting these things. All right, so this is my request. Please don't ask advanced questions. For these advanced question, however, I will guide you, but please try to understand, I will not be able to give you job support with the course. It will not be possible to cater to your company's requirement. You're stuck in company somewhere and you are seeking my help. I will not be able to. Please try to understand. This way I will not be able to complete also, and this way I will not be able to support all of you also. All right, so now I just quickly save you. So what you got to do for your problem, just add this statement, message to this to load the module first and then put this. And now let me show you. I will just click on the button and watch out. There you go. You see this toast message is coming up at the bottom. So please go ahead and put jquery.sap.require there. Now, you see, as expected, more questions are coming on this line. Why are we need this line? What is the meaning? Guys, please try to understand this is a demo session. I will not be able to complete all 40 hours here in this demo session. So this is why I did not wanted to touch upon this part, but yet somebody has a really serious problem there. They really want this. I have shown this, but yet a very heavy dose. This is something which we'll cover in upcoming days. All right. I'm so sorry I cannot proceed more than this further on. I think this will solve your problem, what you're facing in your company right now.
Anubhav, SAP has stopped supporting WebID, right? From December 2018.
That was something called WebID in SAP Cloud Platform that was supported, and the successor of the same is called WebID Full Stack. All right.
Yes.
We are using WebID Full Stack only. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
All right, guys. So looks like all done. Thank you so much once again taking your time, guys. I really love your comments and your views on my YouTube channel, including your emails. Even you're not taking my course, feel free to go and check my YouTube videos. There are lots of them which are going to help you in the long run. And also you can subscribe and check free Anubhav learning series. Lots of free videos for those who are already taken my courses, those who have already subscribed my courses and know my teaching style and stuff like that. You can build an end-to-end application here with the help of Anubhav learning series. A lot of advanced topics are covered here on learning series. Once again, thank you so much for your time. Please do contact my secretary to be able to subscribe for the course. Thank you so much, and catch you on Tuesday morning India time. Yes, last question please.
I'm sorry, I just want to ask, are these videos on your YouTube channel, on your playlist, have any sequence? Like first, second video, third, because I see that there are mess somehow. Well, a couple of videos are pretty much the same, and so when the video is ending, then it is hard for me to find any continuity of this video.
Yes, learning series videos are created on different topics. That's why there is no continuity. But when it comes to actual training, you would see all the videos will be in sequence. Just let me quickly show you here. When you come to the actual training, you can see this is my already completed batch. Okay. And this batch, you would see these videos will be into the actual sequence. So in the actual training, they will be in sequence. You can see 1,
Okay.
2, and then you have 3 HTML day 1, HTML day 2. As I told you, basics of HTML, CSS, yeah, JavaScript. You can see here, they're all in sequence.
Yes, I mean on YouTube channel. So on YouTube channel, do not have
YouTube channel, they are not in sequence. They are just demo videos. They are some middle topics, you know, here and there. They are not in sequence. That's the reason you have to take training, right? If I publish everything on YouTube, then who will take my trainings?
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, thank you. All right, thank you so much, sir. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Goodbye, guys.